Oh shoot, it is election day and I'm talking politics, but in the military. So one thing that a lot of people don't like when they work in a big corporation on the civilian side is the politics in that job, right? So you're wanting to rise up the ranks. The only way to do that is you really have to play politics in the office in order to really get promoted. But before I get into the rest of this video, I want to mention two things. First thing is, obviously today is election day. If you are old enough to where you can vote, make sure you guys go out and vote, especially for those of you who are interested in joining the military. Something that's really always baffled me is really how low of a percentage of people in the military vote. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. There's really not like many other groups that are as affected by who is in Congress, in the Senate, or in the White House as military members. So it really doesn't make sense to me why people in the military don't vote. It's ridiculous. If you're curious, yes, you can do absentee ballots and stuff when you're in basic training. People ask me that sometimes, but that's that. The next thing that I want to talk about is, of course, Jim Fidel. If you guys want to pick up this awesome shirt from Jim Fidel, again, 20% off. You know, I pulled some politic moves and stuff like that to get you guys 20% off. So that is freaking awesome. Make sure you guys check that out. Link in the description down below. But let's get into the rest of this video. Politics in the military. Some people have asked me in the past, I'm going into the military. I'm kind of worried. Is there going to be politics kind of like on the civilian side where you have to really kind of suck up to other people in order to get promoted? And I'm kind of here to say from my experience. Now, this is speaking from my experience and things I've heard from other people, so keep that in mind. If you guys didn't know, I am a fresh second lieutenant in the Army Reserves. I've been enlisted for a couple of years prior, so I'm almost at 4 years of time in service. So from my experience, yes, there is a little bit of politics. It's definitely not going to be as bad, in my opinion, as the civilian side, for sure. In my opinion, it's not as bad as the civilian side, but at the same time, when you are in the lower ranks, you know, either enlisted or officer, you don't really have to worry about it that much. So if you guys are curious what I mean by politics in the military, pretty much the definition of politics is kind of like a group of individuals who are basically governing a government or kind of like an organization type deal, and they are basically fighting for power, right? So they're fighting for power and they're fighting to progress in their career. So politics, you're doing those things, you're sucking up to people, you're doing these things, you're making deals in order for you to have more power or get promoted. So in the military, there might be a little bit of politics involved. You know, people, make sure you know the right people and things like that in order for you to get promoted. But at the lower enlisted levels and then kind of for the lower officer levels where I'm at, it's not as bad. But from my experience, from my opinion on this, is if you kind of want to make the military a career, once you get up to the higher NCO ranks, where there's going to be a lot of competition involved in order for you to get promoted, whenever you make it to the higher officer ranks, there's going to be a lot more competition. There's going to be, you know, less, a smaller pool that the people above you are going to have to choose who's going to get promoted. Because again, lower enlisted soldiers, E1 to E4 is just automatic promotion. Once you get to the NCO level, you are going to basically get selected. There's going to be positions. The higher up you go as an NCO, you know, it's going to get more difficult. The higher up you go as an officer, again, it's going to get more difficult. So one of the ways that you kind of have to separate yourself is by playing a little bit of politics, making sure you know the right people. Now, this isn't to say, especially in the military, that somebody who's like really good at politics, really good at kind of sucking up, really good at, you know, looking, you know, the part or whatever, that they're going to get the job, they're going to get the promotion ahead of another person. Now, I'm not saying that it never happens, but in the military especially, it's usually pretty obvious who's actually good at their job. So if you suck at your job and you're good at politicianing, whatever that word is that I'm trying to say right now, that's not going to be as big of a deal. But when you reach to the higher level ranks, right, and there's not much separating from one soldier to the other soldier, and somebody's got to make a decision, politics and how you've kind of played out your career and kind of the people that you have associated yourself with, kind of the things that you've done in order to give yourself a leg up. Because remember, again, later ranks, you're really building a resume. You're building the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the people that you know. You're working on all that stuff, and then once you get up to those higher ranks, that's all going to benefit you in the long run. So it is going to benefit you to be known by the higher ranking NCOs, the higher ranking officers. For example, myself, I always recommend to you guys, if you want to get promoted fast, if you want to get selected for things, if you want to get, selected for airborne above somebody else, or if you want to, make sure you have the best opportunity, not the guarantee, but the opportunity to get some things, it is a really good idea to actually do well, obviously, at everything you do, but maybe put yourself in the right situation to where somebody higher up might see you succeed. For example, I'm going to tell you guys about not like a time when I was sucking up, but very recently during a PT test, a time when I put myself in a position to be around a high-ranking NCO, my battalion command sergeant major. First time ever really being around him, right? So, previously before, if we kind of walked past each other in the hallways, there was really nothing said. It was just like, good morning, Sergeant Major kind of thing. Like, there was really nothing said. And for me, I know we got a PT test coming up. Obviously, PT is really important in the military. I've told you guys this. This is really important to just like straight up first impressions. If you do go on your PT test, that's a great first impression. So I know, obviously, I'm pretty good at PT. So whenever I go do this PT test, we're gonna take the PT test. Sergeant Major's taking the PT test with us. Guess who you think I made sure I was in the line with? Guess who you think I made sure I was behind in the line during that PT test, right? Having a little, kind of put myself in the situation to be around somebody who has some influence, who maybe, if for example, I want to go to Ranger School or Airborne School or things like that in the future, that I want them to know, hey, I am actually a good officer. I am a good soldier. And the first thing that I want you to see of me is a good first impression, AKA my PT score, right? Now, this Sergeant Major was great. I did, first thing was, 97 push-ups. I did 97 push-ups. He did a pretty good amount of push-ups. He actually beat me on the sit-ups. I think I did like 85 sit-ups or something, and he did like 88 sit-ups. That's ridiculous. A lot of respect for high up NCOs and officers who can just, kick my butt still in different events on the PT test. But putting myself in that situation to look good, to have a good first impression that may benefit me later on in the future. Now, after that, immediately kind of after this PT test, I talked to this Sergeant Major a little bit. And so now in the future, if, he sees me, he might hopefully kind of just remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that lieutenant, he did really good on his PT test, again, in the military, it's for better or for worse, your PT test, your PT score is a heavily weighted indicator on how good of a soldier you are. Now, there's a lot of reasons behind that. One of the reasons is, just if you are in shape, it just shows that you're dedicated, you're motivated, you're willing to put yourself through a lot of, stressful, high stress, intense things in order to better yourself, right? So just the whole physical thing about the military, the whole physical thing about getting in shape, it just looks better on you. I'm just telling you guys that. That is why I just stress to you guys, be in shape. It's going to help you guys out a lot. That was an experience for me. Don't know if it's going to help me out in the future or not, but that is something that you guys should think about. Small little thing. You could call it politics. You could call it sucking up. You could call it whatever the heck you want, but those little things are going to help you out in the future. And then as far as politics goes, later on in my military career, later on in your military careers, it is going to compound, right? So the more people you know, the more people that you associate with, right? It is going to play a bigger role. Like if you want to be a general, that I talked about before, if you want to be a command sergeant major, like I've talked about before, you're going to have to play the politics game at a little bit of a higher level because it is very competitive, and I am sure that some people at those levels are like really trying to get promoted. They're like if you make like these 05, 06 ranks in the Army, if you make E8, E9 in the Army, like you want that, right? So everybody up at that level, they want to get promoted. They want to do this. Whenever you're, E4, E5, there's not as many people who are just like super gung-ho, hua, ready to get things done. So the higher rank you go, the more competition there is, the more you have to separate yourself from other people. There's a little bit of politics involved in that. It's not major, not as much in my opinion as civilian life, but it could definitely help you out if you're wanting to get promoted. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that video was really only supposed to be like 5 minutes long, so yeah, I kind of rambled on, talked about things a little bit more than I had intended on doing, but that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, that would be awesome. If you're sticking around some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button, that would be even better. Again, Jim Fidel t-shirt, 20% off down in the description down below. I almost totally screwed that up, but that is it. Hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I will see you later.